you're trying to eat healthy, you're trying to do better things for your body, and maybe you live with other people, or you just have to live with your own inner child. Maybe you live with children or your own inner child, and you look at what you've got in the fridge and you're like, I just don't want to eat that, right? Or I'm bored with that, right? Feeling bored with your meal prep is a major problem. Now, there are coaches, there are schools of thought that say, just suck it up, buttercup, eat, what is the saying? Food is fuel, not fun, they will tell you. And I call bullshit on this idea, because I absolutely want to enjoy every part of my life, including my food, but also even when I'm on a meal plan. So here's the thing with when you're trying to get yourself geared up for a meal plan, for doing something different with your nutrition, and you're getting yourself set up for success. Number one thing that you have to remember, we'll go over my top 5 today. Number one, do not believe in willpower. Do not believe in willpower. If you currently believe in willpower, I'm going to ask you to change your beliefs. Willpower has no place in a successful meal plan. Willpower will get you into trouble. If you believe that you are a strong-willed person who can just power through when you're feeling hungry, I guarantee that is not a system you can lean on. It will fall apart. We are at the apex predator level of, organisms, because whatever the hell's around. We are like the ultimate omnivores. Humans can live on all fat diets and all vegetable diets and all these crazy things. This is part of the reason why diet science is so confusing, because people are able to survive, if not thrive, on virtually anything, right? We can eat so many different things. It is wild, right? Totally incredible. So we will seek out variety. We will seek out caloric density, right? What is the most calorie dense things I can get my little paws on? And we do this instinctively, and instinct overrides whatever willpower you think you got. So that's the first thing to remember. Second thing to remember is that goes not only for you, but also anyone else in your household that you have to deal with. If you are cooking for other people, whether that is a spouse or a child or anyone else, you can and you should, if you're used to cooking for other people, include them in your nutrition plan. That does not mean, however, that they have to eat the exact same way as you, and I'm going to give you the simple way to figure that out. Okay. So the next tip I have for you is seasonings. We're actually going to start backwards and work our way forward. Seasonings. You want to have a well-stocked cupboard of easy to deploy, delicious, on-plan seasonings. So for most of you who are on a nutrition plan that calls for weight loss or fat loss, this means low-calorie seasoning. I'm going to give you some of my absolute favorites. Soup broth. Okay, whether that's a vegetable bouillon, beef bouillon, chicken stock, any kind of low-fat stock or broth, whether that's in powdered form that you add water to, or already in the pre-mixed and made and ready to pour out in the box or in the can, have some broth available. One of the best things that you can do for yourself is have broth available, not only because soup is very forgiving of leftovers. You throw some leftover vegetables, proteins, whatever in there and heat it up, and you have something that's warm and kind of speaks to comfort food. Comfort food, having that on hand, super important. So having that broth to put your ingredients in will allow you to have easy access to comfort food, and also a much larger meal, larger portion size, if you are restricting your portion size, which can have a psychological effect of hangriness. Not only psychological, but hormonal as well. Down to the hormonal level, you do feel hungry when you go on a diet, because how we think about our food will kick up our ghrelin levels. So ghrelin, my favorite hormone because it sounds like growl or gremlin, is the hormone that makes you feel hungry. And subjective things like how we think about our food will impact you on a hormonal level, okay? Have you ever started getting hungry just thinking about going on a nutrition plan, just thinking about going on a diet? Yeah, and this part of the reason why people have such an antagonistic view towards the word diet even. I've met plenty of people who are like, I don't call it a diet, I call it a way of life or a nutrition something, I don't know. And that's fine. If that works for you, that's cool. But I think the reason why there's this antagonistic against the word diet, which doesn't necessarily mean low calorie. It can be a low calorie diet, right? But diet means just what you eat. It's not specific to fat loss, even though it gets tagged on to diet culture and all this kind of stuff. So the word diet, what I'm saying, just the word, can irritate people on a very visceral, on a very deep, on a hormonal level. So being aware of that is super important because it ties into, there's no such thing as willpower. We will have a gut reaction, get it? Pun intended. So what we are looking at with creating our meal plan is we want to make sure that we have tasty foods. So we want to have a full spice cabinet, broth. If you like other low-calorie seasonings, soy sauce, salt, Mrs. Dash, pepper, any kind of easy-to-deploy seasonings that are well within your needs for your nutrition plan. For the nutrition plans at the Nerd Gym, generally speaking, any kind of dry spices are fabulous. Any kind of low-calorie sauces are fabulous. In general, you want to stay away from creamy sauces or sauces that have a lot of extra added calories. Things like ketchup, barbecue sauce, ranch dressing, all those things will add up calories super fast. And even though, yes, they are super tasty, there are other tasty dried spices and sauces. Well, vinegars are wonderful to have on hand if you like vinegars, if you like those piquant kind of flavors. I've been really into the Japanese furikake, just a little bit on top of my foods, and they have ones with, fish flakes and seaweed and sesame seeds and different fun stuff. So in any case, stock your spice cabinet. Okay, make sure your spice cabinet is well stocked with seasonings that you actually enjoy. Not the stuff that's going to sit in there for 2 years and then when you go to move apartments or whatever, you're like, do I bother bringing it with? I got this 2 years ago and haven't used it. Not those kind. In general, for people who are not into cooking, a lot of the pre-blended seasonings are a good idea for that reason. Take out as many steps as you can on your way to getting this done. Okay, so we have our cupboard stocked with seasonings. Here is the next tip that I have for you. Don't think in terms of recipes. Recipes will always get you into trouble when it comes to a meal plan. I've seen it so many times. People are like, oh, I need to find a good recipe for whatever it is. And then they put together all the ingredients. And it takes time. It takes time to put together a recipe, right? We're like, okay, well, we need a half cup of onion and 3/4 cup of stock and 2 pounds of chicken breast and a 1/4 cup of rice. And we put this thing all together, and then we figure out the portions for how many meals we can divide that into for the week. And we're like, okay, cool. And this is going to be my lunch every day this week. We say to ourselves, and then as the week goes on and the food sits, it becomes less and less appealing. It doesn't reheat the same way. It doesn't taste as good the 3rd, 4th, 5th time we've had it. And then it ends up going to waste, or worse, we eat it, hate ourselves, hate our nutrition plan, and fall off because we're like, I'm not doing that to myself anymore, right? It is such a problem that bodybuilders have a cute name for the chicken they cook so often. They call it struggle chicken. Okay, they literally call it struggle chicken, and they're like choking this stuff down by the end of the week because it just doesn't taste that good. So pre-making a recipe, the only time where I think that's appropriate in a meal plan is if you're saying, okay, tonight is a special night. I'm going to make a special meal. I am going to find a special recipe that keeps me on my meal plan, and I'm going to take the time to actually like go through all the steps and prepare this. Recipes are not good for general meal prep. So, what the hell do we do for actual meal prep then? If you're familiar with the concept of a capsule wardrobe, this will make perfect sense to you. You set up your refrigerator so that everything, all the pre-made ingredients you have in there can be mixed and matched quickly and create new dishes every single time and add the seasonings fresh. So for example, I've got my lovely pen collection here. I love these Papermate felt tip pens. It's one of my, I tend to collect too many of them. But let's imagine they're not pens for a moment. Let's say that the blue ones, let's say that these are our proteins, and let's say the green ones, these are our vegetables. Okay. And let's say these two orangey colors are our carbohydrates, and we'll say that these purples and pinks are our seasonings and spices, okay? So, I've got my fully stocked cupboard of seasonings and spices. I would go with more than 3, but get at least 3 that you really like. I'm gonna say this is soy sauce, soup broth, and Mrs. Dash seasonings. I like those ones. Okay, then our proteins. Let's say this is chicken, pork, and tofu. Chicken, pork, and tofu today. That's what we're making this week, right? And then we have our carbohydrates. We're gonna go rice and pasta for our carbohydrates this week. And then vegetables, I've got broccoli, bell peppers, and what do I want for my third one? Cabbage. Broccoli, bell peppers, and cabbage. Not that I have anything against like carrots, tomatoes, colorful vegetables in meal prep, especially if you're on a nerd gym plan, all those colorful vegetables in there. But any of you who are watching who are on a only green vegetable thing, not ideal, I guess, unless you really love those ones. But we'll go with the all green vegetables since I've got all green markers today. Okay, so now I've got, what do I have to do for meal prep in this situation? I have to pre-cook some pasta, and I have to pre-cook some rice. And I'm going to put those in my refrigerator. I'm going to do a big batch of each. And here's the beautiful thing about carbohydrates is they freeze really easily. So if you're nervous about that food going to waste, if you're not sure if you're going to use it all, you can portion some of it out in freezer bags, pop it in the freezer, and then you can thaw it out in the microwave. Really simple. So when you do your meal prep, as far as like containers and stuff like that goes, don't get a whole bunch of the little things, right? Get a couple, like, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like 8 large containers, okay? Get 8 large containers that will fit in your fridge. I like a long container if you can get one, very much like how they have at the Chipotle size food containers, right? That they have in their little pockets there. All right, so we have our large containers. We have pre-made rice. I did a big batch of rice. I did a big batch of pasta. Those are ready to rock and roll. I have either already cut up my bell peppers, cabbage, and broccoli, or I have bought frozen vegetables. If I got frozen vegetables, I'm kind of at a major advantage here. Number 1, I don't have to wash them. Number 2, I don't have to cut them. And number 3, they're actually often more nutritious than fresh vegetables because they're generally going to be frozen right after harvest, preserving more of the micronutrients. However, I do like the taste of fresh vegetables better. That said, don't let something like fresh, organic, all these little details keep you from eating healthy, keep you from eating well. A lot of times people will get hung up on the details like, oh, I should only be eating organic, or, it's like when you're just getting started, don't worry about it. Don't worry about any of that stuff. And frozen is great. So I have my vegetables either cut, washed, prepped in the tubs, or I have them already purchased in frozen bags. And then I have my proteins. One of my absolute favorite for my cook ahead proteins is to throw a bunch into my pressure cooker. So for example, if I get a bag of frozen chicken breasts, I can put that in the pressure cooker and set it for an hour, and it comes out shredded chicken. So I've got shredded chicken. Fabulous. You can put some pickle juice in there and make it nice and tender. It won't taste like pickles, by the way. It works good. Same thing with the pork. You want to have at least one protein that you don't have to cook. Like tofu is good because you don't have to cook it. You buy it in the package. It's already ready to go. You can eat it hot. You can eat it cold. Versatile. Same thing with deli meat. Deli meat would also be a good option for something that's very grab and go that you don't have to take an extra step to prepare. Same thing with like canned tuna or tuna in the pouches. Already made, already ready to eat, doesn't take an extra step to prepare. And in fact, if you're anti-cooking, just get those three: tofu, deli meat, and tuna for your proteins, and you're all set. You don't have to cook any of that stuff, okay? You're ready to rock and roll. But let's say I have like 2 pre-cooked ones and the tofu, right? Okay, so now, what do I want for lunch? I want pasta, broccoli, and chicken. And I'm gonna put some, what do I want on there? I want some like lemon pepper flavor, like a Miss Dash kind of situation. Okay, that's one meal. Then for a different meal, I want pork and broccoli and rice, and I want soy sauce on that. Okay, that's a different meal. And then for another meal, I want, what do we have here? I forget which this one was. In any case, what I'm saying is you can mix and match them and have different meals every single time and not have the same thing, not get bored with it. And when you separate them out in the containers like this, they will last for longer. Okay? When you mix your foods together in the container, they tend to get a little questionable towards the end of the week, shall we say, whereas when you have them separate, these foods tend to stay fresher for longer. So very, very well worth it. I'm also a big fan, for me personally, of having some fresh herbs in the drawer if I can, some green onions, some fresh herbs, and I'll give you my fast tip for making it fancy here, because once I've done all of this meal prep already, like I can grab a handful of rice, I can grab a handful of chicken, I can grab a handful of broccoli, and then I want to put my seasonings on. I do not want to get out the cutting board, right? And have to wash a cutting board. Use scissors. And you literally take the fresh green onion or the fresh sprig of herbs out of the fridge, give it a quick rinse, and then just snip it and put it over your food. Then you've got some fresh aromatics in there, and it makes it feel very special, very fresh, and less like deprivation and less like struggle chicken. Okay, so that is what I recommend. Which is why I give people a lot of ideas of how to mix and match things, and I'm less a fan of actual recipes, because even the best recipe is going to taste like garbage by day 5. It just is, okay? So we want to make sure that we can mix and match so that we can make it fresh and that we can make it very simple. Now, getting back to, if you live with other people besides you, or if you have 2 very distinct personalities when it comes to meal plans, like I do. I have my inner child who wants mac and cheese and tater tots for dinner every night, and I've got my adult person who wants to have good, nutritious foods that will nourish her body and feel amazing. So how do you deal with that clash of personalities, or how do you deal with different nutritional needs? Because while you may need to be on a lower calorie diet, maybe you've got a teenage boy in the house who's growing rapidly and needs lots of calories, okay? In this case, it works out for everybody, because while your plate might look like, a handful of chicken, handful of broccoli, half a cup of rice, their plate might look like a big old pile of rice, a little bit of broccoli, a lot of chicken, right? Mix and match. And then here is your saving grace if you are like a parent of children or young people who need more calories, or who have the typical palate of a young person. Cheese sauce, pasta sauce, Alfredo sauce, barbecue sauce, ketchup. Have those seasonings available, not for you if you're on a low-calorie diet, but for them. So that while you're having like rice and broccoli and chicken with soy sauce on it, because we're trying to stay within a certain caloric value, they may want that with cheese sauce on it, right? And I have raised 2 children, one of them very, very picky eater. So yes, having that cheese sauce available fixes nearly everything, even the broccoli. So this is what you want to do for yourself when you're prepping your refrigerator, when we're trying to get things together so that we can satisfy everyone in the family, yourself, including your ulterior personality self. And I will tell you that for one of my favorites this past couple weeks for my carbohydrate, my easy carbohydrate, has been rice noodles, because those ones I don't have to prep ahead, because all you do is pour boiling water on it. So I do some rice noodles, boiling water with some beef bouillon, and then I can add my tofu and my vegetables to that. Very, very simple, very easy. And it speaks to one of my absolute favorite comfort foods, which is like ramen noodles, but packaged ramen noodles, very high in calories. The rice noodles, less than half the calories. You find these ways of making it simple for yourself, but please make it simple for yourself. If you make it complicated, it doesn't matter how delicious the recipe is. If it is a complicated recipe, you will not stick to it. And if you make it too too gross to chew your way through, literally, you're gonna have a problem. So we want to make sure that we're actually using the food that we bring into the house. We want to make sure that it is tasty. We want to make sure that it is versatile. So do a mix and match kind of thing, and you will always have variety, and you will be able to change the food that you're consuming based on your mood, right? And here's the other thing: we will all have periods of time where we fall off of our meal plan, and when this happens, do not beat yourself up over it. It happens to everyone. Literally everyone. Okay, nobody can stay on a really strict low-calorie meal plan forever. But if you have your refrigerator set up this way, you will fall off less, or not as severely. And one of the ways that you might fall off that's better than the alternative is, let's say you're like, man, it is just a BS kind of a day. This is a crap day. I want to have something like calorically dense. Like, you're not thinking this in your brain. Those aren't the words you're typically going to use. You're going to be like, I want something yummy, right? Usually when we say I want something yummy, it is because we want that caloric density. And if you have things in your house that will satisfy that without you going out for like a pizza or like a very greasy, fast food kind of item. If you say like, okay, well, I'm feeling decadent today. I'm going to have like all the pasta with some butter on it and some soy sauce. And like, that's your comfort food. That's a better like falling off the diet. That's a better like cheat meal, whatever you want to call it, than going out for like a bucket of fried stuff, so you can make your off-plan eating potentially way better just by having the right things pre-prepared in the house and having some versatility and some wiggle room. Whereas if you opened the fridge and everything was like pre-packaged with vegetables and you were just having like an F vegetables kind of day, you are going to be more likely to go out and get something that's funky, that's not on your plan, that's not going to help you ultimately feel better, and get you to where you want to be for your body, for your nutrition level, all that kind of stuff. So those are my tips for you for today. Is have a stocked cupboard with good spices, good seasonings, separate everything so that it's mix and match. Have at least a few items out of that mix and match that you do not have to pre-prepare at all. When you do pre-prepare, make sure that you have enough available so that you can dip in for your meal plan, and that other people can dip in for their meal plan if you live with other people, and that you have sauces that will satisfy the palate and caloric needs of potentially other people in your family or household who you are cooking for, so that the stuff you do make is more versatile. All right, hope that helped. And if you have questions, go ahead and message me. If you're a Nerd Gym member, you can message me on Patreon. If you're not yet a Nerd Gym member, you should be, because we are an awesome community. We are the gym that comes to you. We are live classes. We do live classes through Zoom, so it's very, very easy. You don't have to do a smell check and brush your teeth and put on your Lululemons and your eyelashes and drive to the gym and wear your mask and spray everything down and wonder if you're going to get coronavirus from being at the gym. You don't have to do any of that stuff. All you have to do is click a go to class button, and it will zoom you right into the class, and you can do a class session that is 20 minutes, 40 minutes, 60 minutes, hour long, hour and a half, whatever works for you. And we've got live class times, morning, evenings, all over the place. So it's very, very simple, right? It's very easy. That's what we're all about, is simplicity, taking out the obstacles, right? Remove obstacles every single day. Remove obstacles out of your way. Be aware of what they are. As we go through our days and our weeks, we often will let obstacles pile up in our way, and we get really good at contorting ourselves and moving around and over and not realizing how much we're actually struggling, and it becomes very easy to just stop and not keep moving forward because of all these obstacles we've put in our way, whether we realize it or not. So take the time, remove obstacles, make getting to your workout easy, make your meal prep easy, and once you have done that, once you make it simple and easy, then things just start falling into place and you'll be all right. I promise. Okay? So I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Have an awesome day, y'all. And yeah,